What's good, y'all? It's Classic Emmett here, and today I'll be doing my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Fight Night of Vallejos versus Emmett. So, after the absolute, disaster of last week's card, we're back in everyone's favorite place, and I mean all of ours. This is our favorite place in the world, the UFC Apex, where dreams are made, man. Where legends like Sean Strickland, Neil Magny have made their name. Yeah, bro. The Apex is truthfully a legendary place, so we're back with this amazing fight night with two ranked fights on it and a ranked WMA fight. So, instead of just telling you how amazing this card is, how about I just show you? Starting off with the first fight of the night. This really embodies toughness here. We got Pierre Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. So on the side of Pierre Rodriguez, we have she has a very wrestling heavy style. Likes to shoot a lot of takedowns. Likes to dominate people on the ground. Decent on the feet too. She's not bad. Coming off or had a couple of losses, 2-2 in her last four. I wouldn't really call it because one fight she lost because of an accident or because of I guess a headbutt she got DQ'd for, but she was kind of dominating that fight. And then she lost to someone at a pretty high level in her other fight. Can't remember their name because I don't pay attention to WMA. And then Sam Hughes used to be known as kind of a trash can in WMA, but it's kind of bounced back in her career and has actually been on a run as of late, on like a 4-fight win streak, I believe. So, a couple of split decisions. These two actually fought before, and Pierre Rodriguez got the better, but that was back in 2022, so it could be different now. So for who I'm picking here, give me who's the favorite? I'm joking. Give me Pierre Rodriguez by decision. I just feel Pierre Rodriguez has beat better people than Sam Hughes, and Sam Hughes has been beating like a bunch of like random like jobbers and winning like split decisions over him and stuff. And then her recent losses are like ranked level losses, and Sam Hughes has never even fought a ranked level opponent. So give me Pierre Rodriguez by decision. Next on the card, we got Elijah Smith versus Su Young Yu. On the side of Elijah Smith, we have a pretty explosive like guy coming off, I believe the 2023 or 2024 Contender Series season. Got won a decision on there against Aaron Tao. Dominated that fight pretty well. Got like 9 takedowns or something crazy. Just looked very dominant and in control. Like his style, he likes to use his grappling more. He's very like wrestling heavy. He's very athletic, likes to go for like big explosive double legs. Has pretty solid striking too, though. He can strike on the feet. Can kind of just drown people. Has some power. Like is actually a force to be reckoned with. Coming off that insane like just slam KO over the what's his name Kazama, where he just slams the guy on his head and puts him out cold. So that was pretty sick. On the side of Su Young Yu, we have a guy who's very, very, very like technically sound. Doesn't really take many risks. Just fights very smart. Fights behind his jab. Likes to just pick people apart on the feet. Seems to have pretty good fight IQ. Doesn't get dragged in the brawls like against Long Zhao when Long Zhao was doing all the weird stuff he normally does. Seems like a pretty composed fighter. Has pretty decent offensive ground game, even though we don't know much about his defensive wrestling. So for who I'm picking here, give me Elijah Smith by decision. I feel Elijah Smith will have a very wrestling heavy game plan here to neutralize Yu's striking game, and I think he'll win a pretty clear decision. As Elijah Smith strikes me to be a pretty solid prospect at bantamweight, as he has pretty solid wrestling, which I think that's what because I think actually Yu could arguably be a better striker than him. So I think he'll have to wrestle a lot here to win, and I imagine he seems like a smart fighter, comes from a good camp, so I think he'll just win very very clearly using his wrestling. Next on the card, we got Bia Mesquita versus Montez Rendon. Bia Mesquita is actually like kind of like a submission artist for WMA. Is like a former like BJJ like world champion in a million different like pros. I don't know much about BJJ. I'll be for real, but I know she's pretty accomplished in that sport. And then since Kevin, she made was that her debut in her last fight? I believe it was, where she got the rear naked choke, just kind of against Alexieva, where she just kind of dominated her on the ground. Was landing nasty ground and pounding elbows, then got lashed up the submission. So looked pretty dominant in that fight. She's like 35 years old, but actually looks kind of talented for WMA. Then Montez Rendon, she's just a bit of a kind of a unskilled kind of fighter who just kind of has dog in her. walks people down, throws shots. Has pretty solid, has a really good like offensive wrestling game. For defensive wrestling, lacks some to be desired. But so, anyways, why am I giving y'all a breakdown on WMA fights in the Apex? I don't know, but this is proof that I watched too much tape. So for who I'm picking here, give me a Bia Mosquito by decision. I think Mosquito should win this pretty clearly. Only not picking finish because it's WMA. And Rendon is a bit of a step up from her last opponent. Like Rendon is actually, she has UFC wins. She's not bad. Like what's her name? Alexieva's terrible. So I believe Mosquito. She's just gonna take down Rendon and kind of bully her. I won't lie. Like she's just gonna take her down and beat her up with ground and pound, go for submission attempts, and win a pretty dominant like 30-26 decision here. Next on the card, we got Leon Lacerda versus Hector Souza. On the side of Leon Lacerda, we have a guy who's kind of just like, he's kind of a sub or bust kind of fighter, very BJJ. He's kind of like, he's the classic Brazilian butt scooters. Doesn't have much of a striking game, even though he did look improved in it his last fight against Simon Oliveira after taking that long layoff. Has some chin questions, being finished by Damon Blackshear by ground punches. Lacerda has a pretty nasty sub game though that he can latch up if needed. Yeah, he's just kind of a low-level fighter, to be honest. Hector Souza, this guy actually impressed me a lot on a Contender Series. Coming into the fight, I think a lot of people viewed him as like a KO artist, a bit of a striker. Not a KO artist, but had a lot of KOs. But came into that fight and put on a very dominant grappling masterclass, just, schooling the guy. Taking him down, beating him up, going for sub attempts. Just looked very in control of that fight. Like, looked like a guy that could genuinely be very, very solid in the UFC. Has a lot of finishes on the regional scene, so for who I'm picking here, it's not much of a surprise. I think this is one of the easiest picks on the card. Give me Hector Souza by round 1, ground and pound TKO. I think Lacerda is a pure BJJ guy with pretty mid striking, and Sosa is just better than him at pretty much everything he does. Whether it's on the ground, I think Sosa's gonna be able to avoid his subs there and land big ground and pound and probably finish him or latch up a choke. So I think Hector Souza will win this fight pretty quickly by finish. Could also see it go into the scorecards too, but give me Sosa by round 1 TKO. Next on the card, we got Bulagioki versus Manuel Souza. So on the side of Bulagioki, we have a bit of a kind of just an athleticism merchant more than anything. Relies a lot on his like natural given like athleticism and power. Besides that, isn't very skilled. Like in his Dana White Contender Series fight, looked pretty promising. Got a flatline KO. Then I believe he made his debut against what's his name, Chris Duncan. Gets guillotined in the first round, and then he, as a favorite, I believe he got just jumping. He got guillotined, and then in his second fight against he fought that one bum. I can't remember his name. The guy that's fighting Luke Riley next week. Oh, Michael Aswell. Yeah, he won kind of just a boring, lackluster decision over Aswell, where he really didn't do much. And then fights Mason Jones. Has an absolute war with Mason Jones. Drops Mason Jones, nearly finishes him, but isn't able to. And then gasses out, and then Mason Jones ends up coming back, getting the ground and pound TKO, and shows some durability concerns as Mason Jones doesn't like have some like insane power, and he kind of got folded by him. And then on the side of Manuel Souza, we have a guy coming off Contender Series. He was one of the guys off Contender Series this season who I thought could be really good. So if you don't know, this guy actually KO'd Mauricio Rufy. Yes, top 10 lightweight Mauricio Rufy on the regional scene. Not like in 2018, Manuel Souza chinned that man out cold. Like Manuel Souza, so style, he's kind of just a bruiser. Like he's just super explosive, has insane KO power, is really big for 155, and is just always looking for KOs. He has a decent offensive submission game too. His defensive wrestling is where I'm concerned for him. Is he was low-key getting ragdolled in his Contender Series fight and had to come back and get a nasty KO to win. But he did not look good in the defensive grappling. I'll say that. Like his defensive grappling leaves a lot to be desired. Striking wise though, this guy is top tier. That's all I gotta say. So for who I'm picking here, give me Manuel Souza by first round TKO. Oki has power, but I think in order to beat Manuel Souza, you have to grapple. And I just don't see Oki's being the one to do that. As when would we ever see Bulagioki shooting double legs? And with all the damage Oki just took in his last fight, I see him getting finished here. Call me crazy. I think Manuel Souza is a top 10 lightweight striker. I've seen enough from this guy. I think he's gonna be a top 10. I think he's gonna be a top 10 lightweight. Like his striking is insane, bro. You just gotta watch the way he does people. And Royal's defensive grappling leaves a lot to be desired. Like, every round starts on the feet, and this guy has nasty knockout power. So watch out for Manuel Souza. That's all I gotta say. Next on the card, we got Chris Curtis versus the GOAT himself, Mitsubek Orobai. On the side of Chris Curtis, we got, I mean, he's salty man Chris Curtis. So Chris Curtis, he's a bit of a veteran in the middleweight division. He's been around. You know, he's been around some promotions. I think he fought in Bellator. Came in the UFC around like 2021 or 2022, I believe. Was pretty decent. Got ranked at middleweight, then lost to Jack Hermanson. Kind of got schooled by him, and ever since then, just been a bit of a win-loss guy. Had some unlucky decisions, like the decision against Brendan Allen, which could have went against for him. You know, the illegal headbutt against Nasruddin Mavov, which was weird. I mean, like Chris Curtis just has a weird career. Coming off that, he's recently made a jump down to welterweight, made his debut at welterweight against what's his name, Max Griffin. Won a kind of just a boring, unassuming decision over him. So then on the side of Mitsubek Orobai, I'm not joking. This dude is legit just a caveman in the flesh. He fights like a caveman. Like, this is basically our new Shavkat. Since Shavkat is sadly never going to return, probably, this is basically our new Shavkat. I mean, this guy looks like this guy saw the dinosaurs. I mean, he saw them. Like, bro, you ask him. I bet he'd tell you about the dinosaurs. Like, he's seen it all, bro. I mean, or by style, he just walks at you. He's a marauder. He's a blockhead. He just walks you down, throws big hooks, tries to enforce his will on you, then secures takedowns, and then goes for subs or ground and pound. It's just kind of he's going for violence in all his fights. I mean, coming off chinning Jack Hermanson out cold, you know. And I know it's not the most impressive thing in the world, but still, I mean, just walking him down, giving him no respect, and knocking him out in 2 minutes is pretty solid. So if we're on picking here, give me Orobai by decision. I see Chris Curtis making this competitive as he has the experience gap and has had close and is pretty tough to finish. But I just see Orobai doing more and being more active, which causes him to get the decision. Because I just can't trust the judges to give Chris Curtis a decision. Like, no matter how close he can make this fight, I just couldn't see him winning. So I think Orobai is going to walk him down, bring the pressure, get takedowns, land big shots on the feet. Chris Curtis will have his moments, but ultimately not enough to win the fight. So give me Orobai by decision. Next on the card, we got, just a bit of a middleweight unks, fight. We got Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. So Brad Tavares is just he's kind of like the former ultimate gatekeeper of the middleweight division. Was always floating around like the top 15 to unranked. He would beat prospects, then he would lose to, big names like DDP, Adesanya. He's basically just fought everyone in the division. I mean, Brad Tavares, he's been around the block. Coming off that loss to Robert Bricek, where he kind of looked washed, I won't lie. Like, got chinned. Like, the fight was competitive, but he did get chinned, so it just didn't look pretty. Looked like his chin was gone. Then Eric Anders, another unk of the middleweight division, is also 38 years old. Used to also be pretty decent. I believe he was ranked at one point back in the day, like light heavyweight. Real ones know about Eric Anders versus Thiago Santos in the main event back in 2018. Now, hey, if y'all think the UFC's bad now, just think about the fact that Eric Anders versus Thiago Santos main evented a crowded fight night back in the day. Like, just think about that. Anders is not bad though. He loses to like upcoming prospects. He loses like ranked level guys like COD, who he got chinned by in his last fight. But he beats the unks like Weidman, guys like that. So if we're on picking here, actually a close fight, as both these guys are just kind of unks who are not riding really any momentum, as they're both coming off knockout losses. But give me Eric Anders by second round TKO. Brad Tavares just looked extremely washed in his last fight. And Anders, don't get me wrong, he isn't much better, but he's at least good enough to finish chinny unks. So I'm picking him here. And also, like, the loss to so let me just break down who they lost to. Brad Tavares lost to Robert Bricek, who lost his UFC debut. And Eric Anders lost to COD, who's going to be ranked next week after he beats Roman Dolidze. So I have to pick Eric Anders here. Give me Eric Anders by round 1 TKO. Or not round 1, second round TKO. Next on the card, 1 of 2 ranked fights on this card. This card's just a masterpiece, man. Just a tear shedding down. Like, this card it's amazing, man. On the side of Charles Johnson, we have a guy, I mean, he's the prospect killer. Like, we all know about Charles Johnson. He is the prospect killer. He will beat your favorite prospect and then go lose to the most random unks possible. So, I mean, this dude chinned Joshua Van, the current flyweight champ, colded him in a fight he was losing very clearly, by the way. It was a fluke, but he chinned Joshua Van. He got lucky that day. And then against what's his name? And then Loner Kavanaugh gets beat up the first round, then just comes back and chinned him, and now Loner Kavanaugh's top 6 in the division, just beat Brendan Moreno 2 weeks ago. And then seemed to be running some momentum, gets his first big step up against Alex Perez, is a big favorite, and then proceeds to get chinned. Yeah, in January this year, this guy proceeds to get chinned. Gets chinned by Alex Perez, who hadn't won a fight since the Stone Ages. Gets chinned by Alex Perez. And now he's making a short turnaround against Bruno Silva. On the side of Bruno Silva, he's not the most skilled fighter, I won't lie. He's definitely not skilled, but in the first round, he's pretty dangerous. Has big flurries, lands big shots, has pretty nasty power for a flyweight. I'm pretty sure he's roided up, as you saw that back knee on him against Hun Sung Park. Was coming off 2 TKO losses against Manel Kopp and Joshua Van, where he kind of got schooled, but then has this big comeback win against Hun, or not comeback win, but like this just dominant win against Hun Sung Park, where he drops him like 4 times and then latches up a sub, and just looked dominant in that fight. Sorry, my mic cut out, but basically, yeah. So, anyways, moving on to who I'm picking in this fight. Give me Bruno Silva by first round TKO. I just can't trust Johnson's chin when he just got TKO'd like less than 2 months ago, and he's coming back extremely fast. And against someone in Bruno Silva who may suck skill wise, I won't lie, but he has a ton of KO power, and I just see him bombing Johnson out cold here. That's my opinion. So, anyways, I believe this is one of the last fights on the prelims. We got Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. Actually, a pretty fun unranked heavyweight matchup. On the side of Vitor Petrino, we have a guy who was seen as like the next Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. Was on this big finish streak, KOing guys, subbing guys, until he ran into the GOAT man, Anthony Lionheart Smith, and he proceeded to get subbed by Anthony Smith. And then after that, comes back against Dustin Jacoby, big favorite there as well, gets chinned. So, after 2 very embarrassing losses, now he's made his move up to heavyweight. He's gotten 2 decent wins, a sub win over Lucas Bresky, I think. Or was it Bresky? I think it was Bresky. Or no, it was Austin Lane that he subbed, and then got a KO win over Thomas Peterson. So, Petrino, he has big KO power. He's very slow on the feet. Kind of lacks skill, honestly. He's just kind of he's kind of a left hook merchant on the feet. Most of what what he's actually good at is his BJJs. He likes to get fights on the ground. Likes to go for subs, likes to go for ground and pound, that kind of stuff. So then on the side of Asplund, I mean, he's maximum Holloway. I mean, we got Steven Asplund coming off last year's season of Contender Series. We had like this crazy inspirational story about losing all this weight. Made his debut against some jobber. I'm trying to remember. It's the jobber that fought Justin Toffo. I can't remember his name though. I don't remember his name, but Steven Asplund kind of put a clinic on him, just landing big shots, landed like 200 significant strikes and got a finish. Just showed insane cardio for a heavyweight. It is honestly one of the more exciting guys at heavyweight. He's also taking this fight on like 2 weeks' notice, which is a bit concerning. But so for who I'm picking in this fight, give me Vitor Petrino by round 1 sub. Asplund is really fun to watch, don't get me wrong, and I'll be rooting for him. But in this matchup on short notice against someone who can grapple, especially now at heavyweight, I just see Petrino taking him down and finding his subs. Steven Asplund really sucks on the ground. Like, that's his one loss on the regional scene was to Denzel Freeman, who stinks, by the way. Denzel Freeman is some trash, man. And Asplund got subbed by him, so I just can't trust him against a guy in Petrino who's athletic, who's big, who's gonna go for subs. So give me Vitor Petrino by a round 1 submission. Opening up the main card, we got Umar Sy versus Ian Cutelaba. On the side of Umar Sy, we got this guy coming out of Paris, France, who's very grappling heavy. That's what his main game. His main game is to, so he likes to. Mostly what his game consists of. He likes to use. He has like a 78-inch reach, so he likes to keep you at bay with kicks, and then until he can find a clinch, then he goes for takedowns, and then either tries to go for subs or ground and pound. Is very dominant on the ground. His striking kind of lacks, as whenever that's his biggest flaw is that whenever he gets stuck on the feet, he's kind of nothing, as we saw in the fight against Alonzo Metafield. Is durable though, has a chin, ate some big shots from Metafield. So then on the side of Ian Cutelaba, we have maybe one of the more inconsistent fighters in UFC history. I'm not joking. This guy will look like Prime Ngannou one day and then look like Anthony Smith the next. Like Cutelaba, I mean, he has 1 round of cardio essentially. Usually, sometimes he has cardio, sometimes he doesn't. Depends on the fight. But Usually he brings the heat in the first round or two, the first like round and a half. Has big KO power, has very solid striking, just and also has a pretty solid offensive wrestling game too. Doesn't really have much on the ground, so his opponents usually get up, but does have that takedown threat to make his opponents think. He's a bit of a chaos merchant to be honest. He's coming off that loss to Bukowskis where I honestly thought he got robbed, but that's just my opinion. So for who I'm picking in this fight, give me Umar Sai by round 2 submission. I'm not too high on Sai, as that loss to Menafield was not pretty, but against someone in Kutsulaba who has a pretty good, usually like a good first round, then usually gasses out, I see Umar Sai surviving the storm and then getting a sub in the second round. Just let me tell you something, guys. Like, I'm not joking. Ian Kutsulaba got subbed by Johnny Walker. Like, this guy cannot defensively grapple to save his life. So, give me Umar Sai by round 2 submission. Next on the card, we got Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. On the side of Marwan Rahiki, we have one of the more interesting guys off of Dana White Contender Series last year. Had an insane like barn burner, just back and forth scrap. Got dropped like 2 times, but was able to come back and find the finish. Showed a ton of heart. Looked super durable. I don't know if that's the kind of fights you want to be having at 23s. That's how to get CT in 5 minutes, but hey, I won't lie, the man looked tough out there. He definitely showed he had heart. And then, he's a very solid. He's mostly just a striker. Has big KO power. Also has a grappling game they can use. I've seen that in his regional fights. Then Harry Hardwick. I mean, he's a guy. He's kind of like he's just a mid-level regional jobber. If I'm being honest, like he's a guy from Cage Warriors. Had a decent record, but came in the UFC, fought Cali Fernandez, and just kind of got embarrassed. I mean, this guy got finished by leg kicks in the first round. Got walked out in a wheelchair. Like, that was not pretty, bro. So for who I'm taking here, I'm taking Marwan Rahiki by 3rd round TKO. I think this will be an absolute banger as both these guys, like Hardwick comes to scrap too. I got Rahiki here as he showed a lot of heart in Contender Series. And against Hardwick, who truthfully just isn't that good, I imagine he should win here. So give me Marwan Rahiki by a 3rd round TKO. Next on the card, we got my dog, Jose Delgado versus Andre Philly. Delgado getting stand up. On the side of Andre Philly, we have kind of he's a bit of just a journeyman of the featherweight division. I believe he's fought a lightweight too. Kind of just he's fought kind of just he's been around forever. He's only like 32 though, but he's been in the UFC like 12 years. He's fought like guys from like Max Holloway to like Dan Ige. And then he wins some fights and he loses some. Coming off that nice win over C-Rod where he used his range effectively, fought smart. I know, surprising. Andre Philly fought smart. Should not have been a split. Honestly, C-Rod lost that pretty clearly, but looked improved in that fight. On the side of Jose Delgado, we have one of the best prospects at featherweight right now. Like, made his debut against Connor Matthews, got an insane knockout, and then walks in there against undefeated Hyder Emil, chins him with a knee in like 30 seconds, and then after that gets a big step up against Nathaniel Wood. Does super well in that fight, drops Nathaniel Wood, arguably wins that fight. I honestly thought he got robbed. So now coming off his first professional loss, if you want to call it that, fighting a journeyman like Philly. Delgado's very good though, man. I gotta say that. He has insane power. He'll walk you down. He also showed cardio too though in that Wood fight. So for who I'm picking here, give me a Delgado by 1st round TKO. This should be pretty one-sided as Philly's coming off a decent win over C-Rod, but he's always had chin problems. I mean, this guy got flatlined out cold by Dan Ige. And against someone in Delgado who arguably beat Nathaniel Wood, and Nathaniel Wood's like a borderline ranked guy, he's very good. And Delgado also has a 100% finish rate. I think he's going to win this dominantly. I think he's going to absolutely put Andre Philly's lights out. I'm telling you, Delgado's going to be something. And he's going to be top 10 for sure. At the very least, top 10. So give me Delgado by round 1 TKO. Alright, for our co-main event, we got... This is what the real hardcores have been waiting for, man. Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. Oh, this Apex card is bad, y'all. On the side of Amanda Lemos, we have she's a bit of a power merchant for WMMA. Actually has pretty solid right hand. That's all she has, but hey, bro, that's enough to get you top 5 in whatever division this is. Strawweight, bantamweight, atomweight, I don't know what it's called. Call me a casual. But Lemos, she has very good power. Competes to prospects, but loses to really anyone that tries to grapple her. Gillian Robertson, she's very wrestling heavy. She's actually kind of a dog for WMMA. Like, she actually tries to finish people. Has pretty nasty submission game. Has nasty ground and pound. Like, it's just looking to kind of just beat the dirt out of you. So for who I'm picking here, it shouldn't be surprising. I'm picking Gillian Robertson by decision. This should be a very dominant win from Jillian Robertson. Lemos quite literally has some of the worst takedown defense in the sport. Like, I'm not kidding. Go watch Amanda Lemos defending takedowns against Tatiana Suarez, or watch her defend takedowns against Zhang Weili if you want to see how bad they are. And against someone as dangerous on the ground as Robertson, she's just gonna get dominated. Give me Robertson by 30-25 decision. Anyways, moving on to our main event of the card, we got Kevin Vallejos, mini Ilya Topuria versus Josh Emmett, the biggest power merchant in UFC history. So on the side of Kevin Vallejos, we have a very smart, clean, calculated technical boxer. Fights a lot like Ilya Topuria. Is one of the best prospects at featherweight right now. Is on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC so far. Is coming off chinning Giga Chikadze, which no one's ever done before, by the way. Giga's never been chin before. And Vallejos made it look easy. Drops the man and just lands nasty ground and pound on him. Is very clean. Seems to be a bit susceptible to eating like calf kicks and stuff, which worried me a bit, but like Vallejos, he's very clean, very calculated, smart fighter. Has a grappling game too. They showed against Danny Silva. Was able to mix in takedowns too when he needed them. Then on the side of Emmett, he's just an unk of the featherweight division. He's been around the block. He's always been kind of a power merchant. Chinned some people. Won some questionable split decisions in his prime. But recently, man, he has just looked washed. Like, you like my mind. Like Paul George, 76ers washed, if you know, you know. Like, Josh Emmett has just not been it lately. I mean, coming off, 2 or 3 straight losses, I believe. Lost to Lerone Murphy. Kind of just this guy got wobbled badly by Lerone Murphy, who has no power. And then fights Yusuf Zalal, gets taken down in an armbar in like 40 seconds. So now, making his comeback against this big prospect in the main event of a fight night. So for who I'm picking here, I don't know, man. I think Emmett might make this tough, I'm picking Vallejos by 3rd round TKO. Get out of here. I see this being a pretty one-sided beatdown. Maybe even worse than the Topuria fight, honestly. I think this might be worse than that, as Emmett's worse now than he was then. And I just see Vallejos just boxing him up on the feet, and eventually Emmett's chin is just not going to be able to take anymore. He's gonna be out cold on the canvas. I'm sorry, Josh Emmett fans, if y'all exist. I don't know if y'all do, but all I'm gonna say is just pray for your boy. He might not live to see the next day. That's all I'm gonna say. So, anyways, So before I ended, this is something new I want to do for my videos. I'm gonna start doing my 3 locks for minus 350 and under. Now, before I give y'all these, just this is not a gambling channel. I do not endorse gambling. Do not gamble. Don't. But I'm saying, if you want to take your chances and you want to know the fighters who I think have the best chance to win their fights at decent odds, I'll let you know. So for my first lock of the card, I think Jose Delgado at a minus 265 is pretty good value, honestly. Like, this guy has a 100% finish rate. Showed he had cardio against Nathaniel Wood and can go 3 rounds. And fighting someone like Andre Fili, who has like 4 KO losses, has been chinned by like so many people. I just think Delgado is a pretty good pick here. So I think Delgado is my first lock of the card. At under minus 350 odds. At minus 265 odds, you can't go better than that. Then my second lock, Hector Souza at money line of minus 230. So he showed a very well-rounded grappling game in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Was able to take the guy down, control him a lot, go for a ton of sub attempts, and then also on the feet was piecing him up too. Like, just looked very nice. Like, looked like a very talented fighter. And against someone like Luan Lacerda, who's kind of like a Damian Maia butt scooter kind of Brazilian fighter, I just see Souza kind of just beating him up wherever the fight goes. Whether it's the grappling, whether it's the striking, I think Souza wins that fight pretty clearly. So I'd say he's a pretty good value at minus 230. Then for my final lock of the card, I got Manuel Souza at minus 350. I know that's a bit high of a price, but against someone like Oki, who's coming off that super damaging fight against Mason Jones, and Oki isn't going to grapple, and I think that's where Manuel Souza's main weakness is his grappling, and I don't think what's his name Balaji is going to try to grapple, so I think Manuel Souza should chin him, or worst case scenario, this fight goes long, Manuel Souza is going to put a beating on him. Like, there's no way Oki wins this fight, so I think Manuel Souza is a very solid pick here. So those are my 3 locks. For my 3 locks, Jose Delgado, Hector Souza, Manuel Souza. Throw those guys in a parlay if you want. Do what you want. I don't tell you what to do with your money. So, anyways, I'm gonna call it a day, y'all. Hope y'all liked the video. this is pretty mid card, but you know, I'll make the best out of it. I got some stuff planned for the weekend. Sorry I haven't been releasing much this week. Truthfully, the UFC is just dead right now. Like, what do y'all want me to do? Release a video about Yusuf Zalal versus Aljamain Sterling? Like, get that out of here, bro. I have stuff planned though. I'll make sure to drop some videos. So, anyways, I'll catch y'all later, and peace.